One more CNN panel for us to look at. I know, it's been like the theme today, but I do find these a pretty good way to talk about the different themes and parts of the election as it begins to wind down, which is all anyone's going to care about for the next 4 to 5 days. Let's be completely honest. This time we're looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger's Kamala endorsement and what it means, especially considering he is a former Republican elected governor.
He hasn't endorsed a Republican since Romney. I don't think this moves any more voters than Hulk Hogan did.
Yeah, but we have these undecided voters, right? We have these people that can't decide if they're
Everyone
going to
was
vote or
waiting
not.
on the
He said a
Arnold
Republican since Mitt
Yeah,
Romney.
I was like, who has been the nominee since Romney?
Since Mitt Romney
It's
is
just Trump.
It's been Donald.
I haven't
It's
seen him
been
in
Donald
high-profile
Trump for
Senate
100
races or
years.
governor's races.
I mean, he hasn't endorsed Donald Trump. is what you're saying.
He has not endorsed Donald Trump, is what you're saying. And not only that, he's been outspoken about the parallels that he sees between the MAGA movement and his childhood in Nazi-dominated Austria. He said explicitly, and you can smirk all you want, go back and watch his own words on this network to Dana Bash, that January 6th reminded him of Kristallnacht. And he issued a 12-minute video warning about the dangers of a hate-filled movement in March of 2023. I think it's not a surprise, given who he has been and the communities that he's embraced over the last several decades. And believe me, I disagree with Arnold Schwarzenegger on a lot of politics. But fundamentally, like he says, I'm an American first and a Republican second.
Now, this is especially interesting coming from Arnold, and I'll tell you why. One of the main talking points you get from MAGA about socialism or communism is, talk to someone from Cuba, they'll tell you. Talk to someone from one of these socialist countries, they'll tell you, even though plenty of people from Cuba aren't going to tell you anything near what these people pretend. That's a conversation for a different video, but it shows how MAGA thinks that there is utility in asking someone who has firsthand experienced something what they think about it, right? So let's keep that logic and let's apply it here. Arnold came from a Nazi-dominated country, experienced it firsthand, including his father engaging in this kind of activity, and he says, hey, MAGA is kind of acting like Nazis. Trump kind of does like the Nazi rhetoric thing. And MAGA is like, what do you know? You're just a rhino. It's just kind of some funny hypocrisy that you can shove in their face of there where they have no logical consistency. The thing that they will apply to one point to say this is why this is right, they will throw it out the window the second it doesn't favor them. So again, don't take them serious with anything they say. And also, how Arnold feels is how many Republicans feel. They disagree with Harris on policy. Many of them align much more with Trump's warmongering, conflict expanding, debt causing policies, but because of the danger he poses to democracy, to America, the country we're supposed to put above party, they could never support him for those reasons.
This one character who we've now had, as we've said, for 3 different campaign seasons as this same figure for the Republican Party is just not what America is supposed to stand for. It's not the country he bought into and moved to. It's not the country I bought into and moved to. And I think it's a country that we really need to move from.
That was all well said. It doesn't matter at all. Zero influence.
But the message is so consistent across the board. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a celebrity or a 4-star general or whatever it is. I mean, it's a pretty consistent message about what a lot of people from all different walks of life see as the future for this country under Donald Trump. Wouldn't you agree?
Not only is it a very consistent message, but the source the message is coming from is about as credible as you can get. You have people like Arnold, lifelong Republican, 1-to-1 agrees with Trump on policy, domestic and foreign, but it came from Nazi-dominated areas and says, I can't support him because his movement reminds me of what I've seen in my home country from Nazis. You have 5-star generals who have seen Trump in action, who have dealt with fascists through their role in the military, saying that he is definitionally a fascist. Lifelong Republicans like Pence, who was Trump's VP, his side man, was in every room during any deal that Trump made as president, any conversation he had in an official capacity as president, sees him as a grave danger to our democracy and refuses to endorse him because of this. It's not the media, it's not the left saying these things about Trump. It's people who have firsthand experience either with what he resembles, that being fascism, or with Trump himself working with him and in his campaign. And these are people who, again, if anything, have all the reason to be biased for Trump, not against him. You can't get a better source than that.
There's a message, though, about the kind of quiet vote. We've been hearing a lot about it when it comes to women. They're trying to say there's some guys out there.
This is about the 4th or 5th. People don't need to know your vote ad that we're seeing. A lot of them are arranged towards women, and understandably so. But I think it's like, what is wrong with your party if what you're saying is, don't tell anyone your vote, it'll be okay, secretly vote for the person you know is best, but don't tell your friends, don't tell your church group, don't tell your bros, don't tell your husband, because you're in danger if you do. I think it's a sad state of affairs that we're in a position where this is what we're doing.
People on the right love to talk about how, oh, polls underestimate Trump and don't doubt the pro-Trump vote that'll get out, which in a lot of instances is true, right? You can't underestimate the lengths that these people will go to save their space in the political atmosphere that Trump has created for them. But on the flip side, I think there's a lot to be said this year about the silent woman vote, right? The anti-Trump vote. These people who might not want to get caught up in all the madness, might even not consider themselves the most political, right? But will be voting for their rights, will be voting to turn the page on this kind of political atmosphere that Trump's created. And that's who the Dems are really counting on to turn out if we're going to pull away with this election. One sad thing is, I mean, it is in some ways damned if we do and damned if we don't, right? In that if Trump wins, we of course get him for the next 4 years, and we get MAGA being insufferable the whole time. But if he loses, we just get MAGA claiming that the election was stolen and Democrats rig it, which of course they won't concede that is not stolen if Trump wins, because to them, if Republicans win, it's free and fair. But if Democrats win, then it's stolen and rigged. And then also Democrats can steal elections, but they didn't steal a 60-seat Senate majority in 2020 for some reason. They can steal elections, but they allowed Republicans to take the House in 2022 for some reason. Democrats can steal elections, but they let Trump win in 2016. They've pretty consistently turned it back and forth. I mean, Bush was just president. There's been just as many Republican presidents as Democrats in this since 2000. It makes no sense, honestly, but as long as it justifies them losing, they'll say it.